Hello and welcome to part 2 of our How to Create a Custom Course in Odysseyware video series. In the first video, part 1, we learned how to create the container for the course. And my example for part 1 dealt with creating a natural science course. So now what we're going to do is learn how to add new lessons, create a new unit, and also how to deal with the new Flex Assessment tool. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I'm going to start by going to the Courses tab. Now, rather than searching through all of these courses that we have here in Odysseyware, what I'm going to do is choose My Custom. And that's going to give me a list of just the courses that I have worked on. If I chose Custom, I would get all of the Corona Norco custom courses. But My Custom will be just my courses. So that's severely limited or reduced the number of courses that I can view. And I'm suspecting that my natural science course is on page 2. And it was under CNUSD Science and Natural Science 1A with a temp designation at the end. And again, that temp means that the class is in progress. I'm working on it. You also notice in the enrollable column that it is not enrollable yet. That's because it's not done yet. To edit this course, you'll see a new icon appears over here in the Actions column, and it's a little pencil. Whenever I see the pencil, it means that there is material there that I have created and or that it is editable. So I'm going to click that little pencil. And there we go. That brings me back to the course creation window. I'm now editing my course again. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to look at the origin of the Earth unit. Okay, and I see that there are all these cool things for kids to do here, all these different lessons. You'll notice that after every so many lessons there is a quiz, and then every so often there's also a project. And you'll also notice that you can preview any one of these by clicking on the little I. Some of them are editable. If you see the pencil, it means you can edit the title, or in some cases the content. And the little red circle with the line through it means you can remove it if you want to. Now in a little while you're going to learn how to add additional quizzes. For example, if I wanted to have a quiz after planetary motion, I could create a little quiz and drop it in there. And actually the system would populate it with the appropriate questions. That's what's cool about Flex Assessments. And you'll remember when I first created this course, I made sure to turn Flex Assessments on. Okay, now in looking at this, I've realized that maybe there's something missing. For example, I might want to have something in here that reviews the structure of matter with students. So I'm going to need to create a lesson that deals with the structure of matter, or find one that already exists. To look through existing courses, if I haven't already created course outlines for them, what I do is I come up here to the 2012 course list, and I'm going to choose All Standard. That's going to limit me to just the standard courses in Odysseyware. And you'll see there is a lot. There are a lot of courses here, and it takes a little while to search through them. Since this is a science course, what I'm going to do in the subject line is I'm going to type science. And just one point, this subject line is case sensitive. If I used a lowercase s on science, I can't find anything. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to the actual case of the subjects when you type them in. Now this brings up all my science courses, and I'm hoping that I can find maybe a couple of lessons dealing with the structure of matter that'll be easy enough for the kids to work through. As I go through these courses, I can see that Odysseyware has biology, chemistry, earth science, physics. These are all high school courses. Then I see science 300, 400, 500. These roughly correlate with 3rd grade science, 4th grade science, 5th grade science. When I see a little dash CA at the end, it means that this is specifically correlated for California. Now, we're looking at science right now, but this holds true for all the core content areas. They have 400, 500, and dash CA series in history, in math, and language arts. Now, just to see what's here, I'm going to take a look at the Science 800 course from California. And to look at that, I'm just going to put a check mark next to it. And what that does is it brings the entire course up in a separate window here at the bottom of the page. And check this out. Right away in Science 800, I have a whole unit that deals with the structure of matter. Structure of matter part 1, structure of matter part 2. Wow, let's see what's in here. I'm going to go ahead and expand that. And here I have a little unit on properties of matter. Properties of matter part 1, properties of matter part 2. Then I have atoms, molecules, elements. So this is a pretty complete course. Now over here in geology, I might be more interested in the properties of matter. So I'm going to determine that I want to use properties of matter part 1 and properties of matter part 2. Now keep in mind, I am making this up. This doesn't actually parallel an existing CNUSD course. This is purely for demonstration purposes. So I don't want any phone calls or emails. Okay, so I found this unit, Properties of Matter, Lesson 1. And I'm going to drag it over, and I'm going to put it right after the lesson on Introduction to Earth Science. I'm going to drop it in there. Now that has become part of my course. I also want to use Properties of Matter Part 2. So I'm going to bring that over, and I'm going to drop it in there as well. So now as a student goes through this course, he or she will get the Introduction to Earth Science first, then Properties of Matter Lesson 1 and Properties of Matter Lesson 2. If I wanted to put these somewhere else, I could simply take them and drag them wherever I wanted to put them. If I wanted to put them in the second unit, for example, remember I'm just working with the first unit, the origin of the Earth, and I'd simply delete them from here by hitting the little red circle with the line through it. And I would go to my second unit, and I'd put them in there. So you can take whatever content exists in any Odysseyware course, that means lessons, projects, whatever you would like, and you simply drag it and drop it into the course that you're creating. Now, for those of you who are thinking about building an intervention course, you may have started your intervention course with an empty container here. In that case, you would find specifically those lessons that you wanted to use for your intervention and drag them over and drop them. Interventions can be as short as a single lesson or might involve an entire unit or a semester or quarter-long course. That's entirely up to you and how you design it. Now, I've drawn my two lessons over here, Properties of Matter 1 and Properties of Matter 2. And I don't have a quiz for these two lessons yet. Luckily, I've turned on flex assessments. And that means that with each lesson, there is a series of items in an item bank that travels with the lesson. And all I have to do to automatically create a quiz is to simply add a new quiz. So I'm going to add a quiz. I'm going to title this thing Properties of Matter and Intro Quiz. and I'm going to create it. Now this is where it gets a little confusing. I created my quiz, but where is it? Where did it go? Turns out that whenever you create something new like this, a quiz or a project, it puts it at the very end of that unit. So here's my quiz, Properties of Matter and Intro. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it up here where it should go. That first quiz is going to occur right after the second Properties of Matter lesson. And there it is. Now the way quizzes work, when you create them, it will draw questions from the previous lessons, the lessons that have come before it, between the quizzes. For example, quiz 1 down here is going to draw questions from Science Weighs In and Competing Perspectives. It won't draw questions from Properties of Matter, Introduction to Earth Science, or anything like that. So a quiz covers just the lessons that come before it that have not yet been covered in the quiz. And the quiz, by the way, is built automatically for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at this quiz. And here it is. Properties of Matter and Intro Quiz. And you can see there are a whole bunch of questions here. Generally, a lesson will have 3 to 5 questions associated with it. When the student takes the quiz, well, these had even more. When the student takes a quiz, the quiz the student takes may be only 5 questions long. And it will randomly select questions from this item bank to deliver to the student. That's how the Flex assessment works. So if you have 2 students taking this online course at the same time, their quizzes will appear to be different. Go ahead and close this. Oops. There we go. Now, I've got my quiz created. I can edit the title if I would like by clicking the edit pencil here. That allows me to change the title. And now, since this is my first quiz, I may want to change the title of this quiz down here to Quiz 2. Or I may want to change the title so it reflects exactly what that quiz is going to cover. You also have the ability to create a new test. When I click on the New Test button, that's going to allow me to create a unit test, a semester test, or a final test. Unit tests, of course, are at the end of a unit. Semester tests would be at the end of a series of units. And a final test would occur at the end of an entire course. Again, these are built automatically for you. As you place them into your course, they will draw questions from whatever came before and randomly create a test for your students. There can be, at the end of the unit, only 1 unit test. If I were to put 2 in there, let me show you what happens. I'm going to create a unit test, and I'm going to call this Natural Science 1A Unit 1. And I'm going to create that unit test. Here's my unit test. I'm going to just drag it up and put it right here. And I'm going to have a problem with this because I can only have 1 unit test. Now, how do I know there's going to be a problem? Well, as you finish up creating quizzes for your unit that you're creating, it's very important that you hit the Validate button. And what that does is it double checks to make sure everything is exactly the way it should be. So I'm going to hit Validate. And it gave me an error right here. And I can click on that error, and it's going to tell me this unit must only have a single standard test. So I can fix that by removing the existing Odysseyware test, not the alternate test, and leaving my test in there, or sticking with the Odysseyware test here. In reality, they're going to be exactly the same, because each one, as soon as I hit validate, is being built by drawing from the questions that accompany each of the lessons of that unit. Now, again, I'm going to hit validate to make sure it double checks for any errors. And you can see that now that error is gone. All right, that's how you drag and drop different lessons and different course materials into your custom course, and how you use flex assessments to create both unit tests, semester tests, final tests, or new quizzes that occur at the end of a series of lessons. In our third and final video, we're going to cover how to create a custom project and how to add an entirely new unit to the course that we've created. We'll see you in video 3.